The flowers of a magnolia tree are some of my favorite subjects to photograph. I have been taking pictures of these since as long as I've had my DSLR, all the way back to my Nikon D200. They're just such incredible flowers. I never saw them until I moved to Oklahoma, and these things are huge, and they have these brilliant white petals. And whatever you're looking at here, and I don't know the anatomy of a flower, but this is the central portion of the flower. And then it eventually just sort of withers, and then it seems like it dies, but then it turns into this giant seed pod. It is super cool. And they make for great photo opportunities, especially with a macro lens, which that's how I got this shot here. I've taken a lot of photos of these with, often my 50mm lens, and back when they used to use that thing, and then close-up filters. But now with my macro lens, I've really enjoyed looking at different ways of taking photos of these familiar subjects. I shot this on unfortunately, it was kind of a bright sunny day. It was actually, it had gone from like cloudy to sunny to cloudy to sunny. And before I took this, not too long before, it was cloudy, which is really nice. But then as I shot this, the sun came out, and then I think it stayed out, which is kind of a bummer, but I guess it does add a little bit of a brilliance to the top portions, those curly things, which is kind of nice. I shot this at f/22, and if I went back in time 10 years ago and told my former self that I could get a photo like this at f/22, like, I just wouldn't have believed me. But that's what you need when you're shooting this close. There's no way to get a good macro shot like this at f/2.8 or f/4 unless you want to do some serious focus stacking, which I didn't want to do. Took this at ISO 160, 1/200th of a second to minimize any motion blur. And I don't even know what any of this is. It's just the central part of a magnolia flower. And I really like how I like how it looks, whatever these curly things are, but I also like how there's that foreground element going on where you see that it's clearly sort of nestled in this container, this giant flower with its petals unfolding. And, it doesn't really give a sense of scale, I guess. So maybe you don't get a sense of how big or small this is, depending on what your familiarity with small flowers is. Like maybe you think this is small, but in any case, you don't get that sense of scale. But you do get the sense that there's a foreground, a subject, and a background. And that's a really simple way to compose a photo, but I use it over and over and over, and I like it. It's like a winning formula because it just works so well. So that's what you got here. If anyone wants to expound on whatever you're looking at, feel free in the comments. I'm happy to learn more, especially when it comes to magnolia flowers like this.